the bustling streets of Chicago, where the wind whips through like it's got somewhere to be, there lived this guy named Marcus Reed. Marcus wasn't just any dude, he was a baller. A self-made millionaire who'd built his empire from scratch in the tech world. Apps, startups, you name it. He had his fingers in all the pies that paid big. But Marcus, being black in a world that still had its hang-ups, always wondered if his success shielded him from the real grit out there. See, he grew up in the South Side, dodging the kind of BS that came with the color of his skin. But now, with his fancy suits and private jets, folks treated him different. Or did they? One day Marcus decides he's done wondering. Man, I gotta see for myself, he mutters to his reflection in the mirror of his penthouse, overlooking Lake Michigan. He's tired of the boardroom bubbles and the fake smiles. He wants to strip it all away, go undercover as just another broke black guy trying to make it in the city. No flashy car, no designer threads, just some old jeans, a faded hoodie and a backpack that looked like it had seen better days. He even lets his beard grow out scruffy and skips the haircut to sell the look. The plan? Hit up places where a millionaire like him would normally get the red carpet. But now, as regular Marcus, see how the world really spins. First stop, a high-end job interview at a downtown firm. Marcus had insider info on an opening for a software engineer, something he could crush in his sleep. He shows up early, resume in hand, looking the part of someone down on their luck but eager. The receptionist, a middle-aged white lady with a tight bun and even tighter smile, glances up from her computer. "Can I help you?" she asks, but her tone says, "What are you doing here?" "Yeah, I'm here for the interview," Marcus replies, keeping it cool, flashing a polite grin. She eyes him up and down, lingering on his worn sneakers. "Name?" "Marcus Reed." She types something, then shakes her head. "Sorry, we don't have anyone by that name scheduled." "You sure you're in the right place?" He pulls out the email confirmation, fake name, but legit setup through a buddy. "Right here, ma'am. 10 a.m. sharp." Her eyes narrow. "Look, we get a lot of walk-ins. Maybe try the temp agency down the block." She doesn't even check the system again, just waves him off like he's a stray dog. Marcus feels that familiar sting, the one he hadn't felt since he was a kid getting followed around stores. But he bites his tongue, nods, and walks out. All right, strike one, he thinks. But this is just the start. Next, he heads to a fancy coffee shop in the Loop, the kind where lattes cost more than a meal. He's got cash in his pocket, real bills, no card to trace back to his wealth. He orders a black coffee, nothing fancy, and asks if there's a spot to sit and charge his phone. The barista, a young white guy with tattoos and a man bun, rings him up but then says, "Hey man, we got a policy." No loitering if you're not buying more than that. Seats are for paying customers. Marcus chuckles inside. This joint's half empty. "I just paid, didn't I?" "Yeah, but..." "You know." The guy glances at the manager who's watching from the back. No one says it outright, but Marcus knows the vibe. If he looked like the suits at the tables, they'd be offering him free refills. He grabs his coffee and bounces, sipping it on a park bench instead. The cold bites through his thin jacket, but it's fuel for his fire. "People see what they want to see," he mumbles. That night he crashes at a cheap motel on the outskirts, the kind with neon signs flickering like they're about to give up. The clerk, an older white dude, demands ID and extra deposit just in case. Marcus hands it over. Fake but solid, and gets a room that smells like old cigarettes. Day 2 kicks off with more of the same. Marcus tries renting an apartment in a nice neighborhood. Nothing crazy, just a studio. He'd set it up online under his alias. But when he shows for the viewing, the landlord's all smiles until he opens the door. "Oh, you're Marcus? Pictures don't do justice." The guy's white, balding, with a gut hanging over his belt. They tour the place, but the whole time, he's dropping hints. "We run background checks real thorough here." "Neighborhood's quiet, family-oriented. You got family?" "Nah, just me," Marcus says, playing it straight. Rent's gone up since the listing, and we prefer long-term, stable tenants. By the end, the dude's basically shoving him out. "I'll let you know," he says, but Marcus knows that call ain't coming. It's the subtle racism, the kind that hides behind policies and preferences. He could have bought the whole building in cash, but that's not the point. Frustrated but determined, Marcus hits the streets again. He stops at a diner for lunch, a classic spot with checkered floors and booths that have seen decades. He slides into one, menu in hand. The waitress, a bubbly Latina woman named Rosa, comes over with a genuine smile. "What can I get you, hun?" Just a burger and fries, thanks, he says, appreciating the warmth for once. As he waits, a group of white guys at the next table start getting loud. One of them, a burly dude in a construction vest, eyes Marcus and mutters something about these people taking all the jobs. Marcus ignores it, but when his food comes, the guy knocks over his water accidentally as he passes by. Oops, my bad, he sneers but doesn't apologize. Rosa sees it, rushes over with napkins. Don't mind them, sweetie. Bunch of jerks. She refills his glass without charging extra. Chats a bit about the weather. It's small, but it's the first real kindness he's felt. That sparks something in Marcus. Maybe not everyone's rotten. He finishes his meal, leaves a tip that's generous but not suspicious, and heads out. But the day's not done. He decides to test the waters at a local community center, signing up for a free workshop on job skills. Figure it'll show how systems treat folks like him. The coordinator, a stern white woman, looks at his sign-up sheet. Experience? She asks. Some tech stuff, but been out of work, he lies. She huffs. We prioritize locals with references. You got any? Nah, fresh start. Sorry, class is full. But Marcus sees empty seats through the window. Strike again. As the sun sets, Marcus finds himself in a park, sitting on a bench, journaling his thoughts on a crumpled notebook. The rejections pile up, each one laced with that underlying bias, the looks, the assumptions. The door slammed shut because of how he looks. It's wearing him down, making him question if things have really progressed or if it's all just polished over. But then, as he's packing up, a voice calls out, "Hey, you okay there? Looks like you could use a hot meal." He looks up to see an older white woman, maybe in her 60s, with kind eyes and a wool coat. She's carrying a bag from a nearby soup kitchen. Name's Eleanor Hayes. I volunteer down the block. Come on, no strings attached. Marcus hesitates. Is this part of the test? But her smile's real, no judgment. Sure, why not, he says. They walk together, chatting lightly. Eleanor talks about her life, how she lost her husband young and found purpose helping others. World's tough, but kindness costs nothing, she says. At the kitchen, she introduces him around, gets him a plate without questions. For the first time in days, Marcus feels seen, not as a threat or a statistic, but as a person. As they sit, she asks about him, really listens. Sounds like you've had a rough go, she says when he shares a bit, keeping it vague. Yeah, people judge quick, he admits. Too quick. But hang in there, good things come to good folks. Over the next few days, Marcus keeps showing up at the soup kitchen. Not because he needs the food anymore. He's got a fridge full of gourmet crap back at his penthouse, but because Eleanor's different. She doesn't pity him. She just treats him like a human being. They talk about everything. The Bulls sucking this season, how the city's changed since she was a kid, her late husband who fought in Vietnam. She never pries too deep into his past. Just listens when he wants to vent about how hard it is out here for guys like me. One evening after closing up, Eleanor invites him back to her place, a modest brownstone in Lincoln. Park that's seen better days but is warm as hell inside. Smells like fresh-baked cookies and pine cleaner. She's got photos everywhere, her with her kids, both grown and moved out west. Grandbabies, old vacations. Marcus sits on her worn couch, sipping tea, feeling weirdly at home. You know, she says, handing him a plate of oatmeal raisin cookies. I wasn't always this open-minded. Grew up in a neighborhood where folks didn't mix much. My daddy was the type to say stuff I'm ashamed of now. Took me years, and losing people I loved, to realize how wrong that was. Marcus nods, chewing slowly. Takes guts to change like that. Guts or just getting tired of being angry all the time. She laughs softly. Anyway, you seem like a good man, Marcus. Smart, too. You shouldn't be sleeping in that ratty motel. I've got a spare room upstairs. Rent-free till you get on your feet. No funny business, just helping out. He almost chokes on his cookie. Part of him wants to spill everything right there. Tell her he owns half the skyline outside her window, but the experiment's still running. He wants to see where this goes. You sure? You barely know me. I know enough, she says firmly. I've seen plenty of folks come through those kitchen doors. You've got kind eyes. That's rarer than you think. So Marcus moves in, just a duffel bag of thrift store clothes to keep up the act. The room's small, with a twin bed and a window overlooking the alley. But it's clean and quiet. For the first time since starting this whole thing, he sleeps without one eye open. Life settles into a rhythm. Mornings, he helps Eleanor at the soup kitchen, chopping veggies, serving plates, washing dishes. He meets the regulars, Vets down on their luck, single moms, kids skipping school. A lot of them black and brown faces, but some white too. Everyone's just trying to get by. Eleanor knows every name, every story. She remembers birthdays, brings extra socks in winter, calls people out when they're slacking, but hugs them when they're hurting. One afternoon, a new guy shows up, loud, aggressive, clearly high. He starts yelling about how certain people are taking all the food. The slur flies out before anyone can stop it. The room tenses. Marcus feels that old heat rising in his chest. But Eleanor doesn't flinch. She steps right up to the guy, calm as hell. You don't get to talk like that here. This is a safe place for everybody. You want a meal, you sit down and act right. Otherwise, doors that way. The guy mutters something ugly under his breath, but he backs down and leaves. Later, when Marcus asks why she didn't just call the cops, she shrugs. Cops would have made it worse. Sometimes you gotta stand up with words first. Marcus is floored. This little old white lady just shut down racism without blinking, and nobody in the room batted an eye, like it was normal. Because with her it is. As weeks roll by, Marcus starts opening up more, still hiding the millionaire part. He tells her about growing up poor, the stops by cops for fitting the description, teachers who assumed he'd fail. Eleanor listens, really listens. Sometimes she cries. "I'm sorry the world did that to you," she says one night over dinner. "I benefited from it without even knowing." That's on me too. He teaches her little things, how to spot scams online, fixes her ancient laptop when it crashes. She teaches him how to make the perfect pot roast, and that forgiveness isn't weakness, but the experiment keeps gnawing at him. Every day he sees the subtle and not so subtle. Racism out in the world, the security guard tailing him in stores, the cab that slows down then speeds off when he waves, the job apps that ghost him. Yet here in this house, with this woman who looks like every Karen meme but acts the total opposite, he's finding something he didn't expect. Hope. One night they're watching the news. Another story about police brutality. Protest downtown. Eleanor shakes her head. Breaks my heart. "We gotta do better." Marcus finally asks the question burning in him. "Eleanor, why do you do all this? Help folks who don't look like you, after everything?" She thinks for a long moment. "Because my grandson's half black. Married a beautiful woman from Atlanta. Their little girl, my great-grandbaby. She's got my eyes in her daddy's curls. I look at her and think, if the world treats her the way it treated you, I'd lose my mind. So I'm trying to make it a little softer, one plate at a time. Maybe it's too late for me to fix everything, but it's not too late to try." Marcus feels something crack open inside him. This whole time he's been testing the world, and the world failed over and over. But Eleanor, she passed with flying colors. Not because she's perfect, but because she chose to see people. Winter hits hard. Snow piles up, streets turn to slush. The soup kitchen gets busier. Marcus throws himself into it, even using some of his hidden cash anonymously to buy extra supplies when donations run low. Eleanor notices things are stretching further but doesn't question it. Then comes the night everything almost falls apart. A big storm knocks out power across half the city. The kitchen's generator fails. No heat, no hot food, and a line of people still waiting outside in sub-zero temps. Eleanor's frantic, calling around for help, but everyone's slammed. Marcus can't just stand there. He steps outside, makes a quick call on his burner phone to one of his assistants. "Get heaters, blankets, food trucks, whatever it takes. Corner of Halstead and North Ave. Do it quiet, no names." Within an hour, trucks roll up. Portable heaters, pallets of blankets, hot meals for days. The crowd's stunned. Eleanor's in tears, hugging volunteers, calling it a Christmas miracle, even though it's February. She pulls Marcus aside later, eyes searching his face. "That was you, wasn't it?" He freezes. The jig might be up. Marcus looks at her for a long second, the snow still swirling outside the window. Then he nods slowly. "Yeah, it was me." Eleanor doesn't freak out or get mad. She just sits down across from him at the kitchen table, folds her hands and waits, so he tells her everything. The penthouse, the company, the millions, the experiment, how he wanted to feel what it's really like out there, without the money shielding him. Every rejection, every side eye, every door slammed in his face. He lays it all out, voice cracking a couple times. When he's done, the room's quiet except for the hum of the new heaters. Eleanor reaches over and takes his hand. "Thank you for trusting me with that," she says softly. "And I'm sorry. Sorry that you even felt like you had to do this to know the truth." Marcus shakes his head. "Don't be, you." You were the one bright spot in all of it. You didn't see a threat. You saw me. She smiles, eyes misty. I saw a good man who needed a little kindness. Turns out he's a good man who can give a whole lot back. Over the next weeks, things change, but not in the cheesy movie way. Marcus doesn't swoop in and buy the soup kitchen a new building or anything flashy. Instead, he partners with Eleanor quietly, sets up a foundation in her name, funds programs that actually help, job training that doesn't ghost, black applicants, housing assistance without the hidden bias. He brings in experts, but Eleanor runs the show. Her rules, her heart. And he keeps coming back. Not as the broke guy anymore, but as himself. They still chop veggies together on Tuesdays. Still argue about whether the Bears will ever be good again. She meets his real friends, his mom, who cries when she hears the story. He meets her great-grandbaby, that little girl with the curls, and promises her the world will be better by the time she's grown. One spring day, they're sitting on her porch, watching kids play in the street. You know, Marcus says, I started this thinking I'd prove how messed up everything still is. And yeah, it is. But you proved something bigger. What's that? That one person choosing kindness, real kindness, not performative crap, can change everything for somebody. And if enough people do that, maybe we fix this thing after all. Eleanor squeezes his arm. Then let's keep choosing it. Every damn day. And they do.